Hello and welcome to the weekly Kashmir University Video Digest Quest. First, a look at the highlights. University establishes Center for University-Society Interface.
We also have an interview with Chief Coordinator, DICA.
Now the details of these events with your host, Nisar Dharma. Dear viewers, the University of Kashmir has recently established an important research center named the Center for University-Society Interface under the auspices of the Department of Sociology. Since universities are regarded as key institutions in social change and development, the center was established to bridge the gap between society and the university. The center is headed by Professor Anisa Shafi and has currently 2 faculty members that include Dr. Manzoor Ahmed and Dr. Salim Jehangir, both assistant professors of the Department of Sociology. University and society are 2 important units representing people at the micro and macro level respectively. In order to foster relationship, the university established the Center for University-Society Interface.
What has been observed in the last decade or 2, it has been observed that there has been a disconnect between the society and the university, resulting in the overall influencing, we can say, overall societal development. Now, keeping that in consideration, the Department of Sociology moved a proposal to the competent authority with an objective to establish this kind of a center which could address the overall issues and concerns of the society. And that kind of a proposal definitely got a support by the visiting team, NAC team, that visited the university last time in 2011 for the accreditation. And the visiting team that time made an observation that since University of Kashmir is located in a very difficult area and is confronted with some kind of difficult situation, there is a need to have strong linkage and coordination between the university and the society. And in that context, the proposal which was moved by the Department of Sociology was considered, and you can see that is only a month back, we got the formal orders for the establishment of the center under the auspices of the Department of Sociology.
Professor Anisa said that although both the units maintain functional independence, she is hopeful that the center will cultivate positive, productive relationship.
The university and society, these are the 2 basic units and they have to work in coordination. A university through its teaching, through its curriculum and through its research, which is a prerogative of the university, once it will be getting first-hand information from the ground realities, it will be more appropriate, it will be more productive in terms of its research and its teaching. Since as the teachers and the researchers at the university, we simply get the information, second-hand information, and if there is some kind of discord between the university and the society, the research is not going to be so productive, the teaching and the curriculum is not going to be so productive. But once we are having a deep understanding of the ground reality, our this research and the teaching is going to be more productive and more focused.
The main activities, according to the faculty members of the center, will revolve around the interaction and intervention on the part of university as well as the society.
University has a kind of coordination with the society, yes, but we have to acknowledge one thing, that because of certain limitations, structural as well as the functional limitation of the university, there has been we could see the absence of an ideal relationship between the university and the society, which otherwise should have been there. And I can see that university, because of certain limitations from the last a decade or 2, once the society was undergoing some kind of transition, could not address and meet the expectations of the larger population. It could not address to the aspirations of the people. That is the only problem. But I could say that that is something related to a certain kind of the structural and the functional limitations of the university in terms of the researchers, in terms of the faculty, in terms of the infrastructure, so on and so forth.
Professor Anisa Shafi University said that whole society will be involved in a reciprocal relationship through civil society, non-governmental organizations, and formal official agencies.
Since we are settled in a stage to devise the methodology, but to begin with, the more appropriate way would be to go to the representatives of various groups. Since society is not one major group, it is a heterogeneous. We are confronted with a heterogeneous population. We do have different groups. So initially and methodologically speaking, it is going to be very appropriate to choose the representatives, and through the representatives, we'll be able to identify the aspirations, the needs, the expectations, the issues and concerns of the people. But it will not remain confined only to the representatives. They will simply give us the first-hand information, and the real work will be done at the ground with the masses. So to begin with, we'll be definitely taking up, like we will be taking up representatives from the NGOs, from the government officials, from the laymen, so on and so forth. The members of the civil society will be included.
They said that input processes of research and other related activities of the center will provide a relevant framework for its functioning, whereas the output processes will give rise to the harmonious type of activities and fulfill basic societal needs.
Prime objective of the universities is to do research, and whenever we do research, we're supposed to initially identify the problem. And once we talk about the identification of the problem, unless and until we don't have a clear rapport with the societies, identification of the problem becomes a challenge. There are many other sources, like review of literature is there, which helps us in identifying the problem. But despite that, if at all we have a deep understanding of societies through interactions, it helps us to identify the problems on which we are supposed to do research. And once we identify those problems which are very much relevant to present day societies, and doing research on those relevant topics enhances the significance of the universities thereby.
It's going to make the research more meaningful, and it is going to make the research carried out by the university more focused, because this time we'll be getting an opportunity to go and look at the ground reality, what people want from the university, what should be the direction of the research. It will not go futile, because overall it is only through the research which is carried on by the university that the policy making of the overall the state is dependent on that. Once we'll be having a direct connection with the ground, I suppose the research is going to be more productive and more meaningful. It's not going to be a wastage.
It's hoped that the university will enter into a relationship that serves the broader societal objectives. Thus, the role of the university emerges crucial for processes of societal development.
We are not going to select a bunch of people. We'll be picking up the representatives of the people. Wherever we'll be going, whichever group we'll be selecting, we'll be picking up a particular representative of that group. And that representative in itself means representing the entire population. That's it.
Those people who actually will be selected will not be done on random basis, basically. So what we aspire to do is actually to get that chunk of people, to get those representatives of the society who actually know and simultaneously have an access to the commons. So having those people who actually have an access to commons, or in other words we can say the representatives of the commons, when we talk to them, it's destined that the message reaches to the masses.
These type of centers are established only in those areas where there is a conflict. A general expectation is that what are the expectations, motivations, wishes of the civil society from the university. It is possible that university may know some, but does not know all. That's why this center has been established to know those expectations, motivations, and wishes which are at the ground level realities.
All the faculty members are hopeful that the center will be able to generate the required capital on its own through various projects.
We will not definitely rely totally on the funding of the university, though we expect that the university will be funding us to a large extent. But then we have started our process of writing to the funding agencies for various activities in terms of the workshops, in terms of the field works, in terms of the research programs. We will be more relying on the funding agencies who will be sponsoring us for those activities. So I suppose the university will not be burdened so much, though we'll be relying to some extent on the funding of the university.
One such activity for which we have approached the funding agencies is role of universities in social transformation. We aspire to do that in very near future, and that activity, like many other activities which we are going to do at the center, will be funded by many funding agencies.
Dear viewers, to monitor and assess the overall teaching quality in the university, there is a Directorate of Internal Quality Assurance which institutionalizes the process of quality teaching. The DIQA, as it is popularly known, also reviews the performance of the teachers regularly. It also conducts peer reviews and takes feedbacks from all the stakeholders, especially students, so as to make teaching learning friendly and research on par with the global standards. Dr. Manzoor Ahmad Shah, who is the Chief Coordinator of the DIQA, spoke to the Quest team and talked in detail about the role of the Directorate in quality improvement.
National Assessment and Accreditation Council mandates every university or accredited institution to basically have in place an internal quality assurance cell, so as to have an internal mechanism of continuous quality assessment, because it lies at the heart of progressive institutions, and to see to it that all the resources in the university are equitably and judiciously shared by the stakeholders, and there are quality benchmarks in place against which students, faculty and other administrative staff works. So in that context, DIQA plays a vital role as a statutory watchdog to see to it that these quality parameters are not in any way compromised with.
He said every year, in order to assess the quality of teaching in the campus, the Directorate takes students' feedback in consideration.
Now it has been mandated by the UGC that only those students who have 75% of attendance are entitled to give their feedbacks, which makes sense, because the student who, for instance, attends 1 or 2 odd classes would not be genuine in his feedback. Earlier we used to go to the departments physically and interact with the students, and they would record their response on a given sheet. But now we have made this mechanism completely online, so students can give their feedback online, and this is highly confidential. So the feedback that we get from the students is one of the quality assessment parameters that we share with the concerned teachers.
Asked since the teacher himself furnishes the information in case there are some anomalies, what mechanism DIQA has adopted to weed out such things, to which he said,
for instance, in case of research publications, most of the journals are online. If some teacher basically reflects a wrong impact factor of the journal, we can go directly to the source itself and check it whether it is right or wrong. One. Second, we cross-check through heads of the department whether it is so or not. Then we also at times ask the concerned teachers to basically provide the evidence wherever we feel suspicious about certain things that is there. Yet I would believe that there has to be even a stronger mechanism in place for doing this, and we are trying in that direction.
The DIQA Chief Coordinator said that in order to improve the quality teaching, Directorate encourages teachers to collaborate with scientists from any part of the world.
We also ask the teachers to explore certain funding agencies. We give them guidelines about them. We share with them the format of the proposals and the addresses and the way of approaching them. And one more important thing is DIQA is also right now officiating the GYAN, which is a global initiative for academic networks, through which you can get the foreign faculties to deliver lectures and spend time with your students, a week, 2 weeks or more than that, and the funding is provided by the Government of India for that.
He said that the DICA, besides assessing quality teaching and research, also looks after teachers and tries to sort out their departmental problems.
Through DICA, we basically process the cases of promotion of teachers, and there we have all the details of teaching and research that teachers do with us. And one more important thing that you must be probably happy to know about is that the probation clearance of teachers is now linked to the student feedback, and DICA is the nodal agency that basically certifies that a particular teacher has a good feedback and he should be cleared for the probation. And things can happen otherwise also, and there are evidences that some teachers have been basically stopped or they have not been cleared for the probation because of the poor feedback.
This year, the NAAC team will visit Kashmir University for accreditation, and the DICA has the responsibility to see that in evaluation it does not lag behind any University of India.
I am pretty sure that we have more than enough progress than is expected by the NAAC peer team probably this time, and I am hopeful that we will be in a position to get a higher score than we have previously.
Dr. Manzoor said that the university will soon start e-office concept.
We have a set of reforms that are going to be undertaken. One of the most important reforms, for instance, is the implementation of e-governance and the e-office concept. And I think the platform for that is ready. That is going to be implemented, I hope, pretty soon. In that case, all the proposals, all the applications, all the communications from any stakeholder of the university, be it a student, be it an employee, be it a teacher or somebody else, they will be routed online. At any end where you would see that there is any delay, it would be automatically coming to the notice of the authorities and appropriate action would be taken. And we at the DICA are basically trying to put in place all such best practices in the institution that are possible, that would be useful in taking the university to newer heights at the national and international level.
With this, we come to the end of our today's program. In case you have missed some part of this program, log on to emmrckashmir.com where you can watch the entire episode. Send us your valuable suggestions at our email address quest@emmrckashmir.com. Before I take your leave, here are a few words of wisdom. The only time you fail is when you fall down and stay down.